Today I want to share another spiritual principle with you on receiving from God. These principles are not to be formulas to try to manipulate the Father into giving you what you want, but rather these are principles about positioning ourselves with an open heart in order to receive from God, who is wanting to give to us from an open heaven. I want to start off today in Malachi when God spoke to his people and he said, if you will bring the tithe and offerings to me, I will open up heaven and pour you out a blessing that you will not be able to contain. But the first principle here is that if they have their hands closed and they're holding on to the things that belong to God rather than giving them with an open hand, that they are closing themselves off from receiving from God. The tithe belongs to God. It's his. It's not ours to decide what to do with. We're supposed to bring it to the local church and offer it to God as a return of something that already belongs to him. Our offerings are on top of that. So if we're wanting revival in our life, if we're wanting healing in our lives, if we're wanting prosperity in our lives, then we need to do our part and stop stealing from God. If we're holding those things back that belong to him, we are blocking what he wants to do in our lives. But if we're a giver and we're giving to God and we're giving to other people, not just financially, but we're giving to them mercy, we're showing them grace, the same capacity that we have to be generous and gracious with other people is the same measure that God's going to use to pour back into our lives. So if you're wanting to receive from God, this is a spiritual principle. Also keep those hands open and give to someone else. Give God what belongs to him, and then he's going to pour out a blessing so big that you are not able to contain it in yourself. So that blessing, I believe, can be financial, but it also can be an outpouring of his Spirit, an outpouring of God encounters, revival in your life, in your church, in your country, in the world, if we will give God what belongs to him. I believe that God will pour out a blessing on our lives of grace, of generosity, of strength, of ability, of miracles when we learn to open up our hearts and give back to God what belongs to him and give to others what God wants us to share with those who are in need around us. When we do this, just wait and see the windows of heaven, how they open up and blessings begin to shower down that we can't even contain them.